Hello again, KMS. Welcome back to Let the Adventure Begin. I'm Dave Boyer, aka Mr. Boyer, aka the Swamp Man. And this is the third lesson in this unit. So far we've talked about setting goals for ourselves, and we've talked about how you have to overcome challenges as you're working towards those goals. So, setting goals for yourself can be really exciting. It's like thinking of a future when you've accomplished something amazing. Overcoming challenges is perhaps the most rewarding part of working towards your goals because it builds your confidence in yourself and it expands what you're capable of. But by far, in my opinion, the hardest part of working towards your goal is facing failure. Let's start by reading this quote from Michael Jordan. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. What do you think Michael Jordan meant when he said that? He's not called the GOAT because he missed 9,000 shots. He's not called the GOAT because he lost 300 games. He's not the GOAT because of his failures. He's the GOAT because of how he responded to those failures. Let's take a look at the last few seconds of game one of his first NBA Finals in 1991. How do you think Michael Jordan felt after he missed the game winning shot in the first game of the 1991 NBA Finals? Sports history shows the result of his mindset. Jordan went on to earn the NBA Finals MVP that season, averaging 31.2 points per game, 7 rebounds, over 11 assists per game in that series. He led the Chicago Bulls to the first of 6 NBA championships, never losing a whole series in the finals, and cementing his place as the GOAT of basketball. He accomplished all of that by setting the mindset that no one would work harder than him. No one would play harder in practice than him. No one would spend more time improving footwork, improving his dribble penetration, improving his jump shot, improving every aspect of the game. It was the work he put in after every missed shot, after every loss, after every failure that made him the greatest basketball player of all time. Failing at something you're working so hard to accomplish can be heartbreaking. In these videos, I've been sharing about my life goal of reaching the highest point of all 50 US states. In the summer of 2024, I checked off Arizona and Utah and brought my total up to 45 out of the 50 states. I did have one final climb that summer, though, Gannett Peak, Wyoming. In the next 2 video clips, you're going to see kind of me at my most vulnerable when I made a decision to turn around and not go for the summit of Gannett Peak, and then how my mindset changed over the following 2 days. This is day 3. And I think I'm having to make a hard choice not to go for it. Some bad weather came through overnight and tried to wait that out, so I got a super late start. But those 2 days of backpacking in just really drained me of energy. I guess I'm not in good enough shape to do this. There's another tent at a Tarn camp. There's nobody in there, so I assume they are going for it. I haven't seen them on the slopes. But I don't know what this means for me. Like, for a long time, I just wanted to get as many high points as I could, and I accepted that there may be ones that I don't get, and I could certainly come back and go for Gannett another time. I always felt Denali was kind of out of reach. But then I climbed Mount Rainier and just kept being successful with every climb I did. So I was kind of thinking, why not? Why not me? Didn't get into camp last night until after 7. I started walking at 8 and really didn't take any breaks. Didn't stop for lunch. Just stopped to filter water throughout the day. Stopped to take off the backpack and shake my shoulders out. So I wasn't really expecting 11 hours on trail yesterday. But I was just moving slow. To do the detour to go across the new bridge, and that added 1.2 miles and brought the day up to like 13.6 miles. 13.6 miles carrying 50-60 pounds. God. I know as long as I make it back to the car, my family will be happy, but it's really hard. The only real mark of success in a wilderness adventure like this is making it out alive, preferably uninjured. And after leaving my camp at Downs Fork Meadows and hiking nearly 16 miles now out, you can see the parking lot down there, and I'm pretty confident I'm gonna make it out alive and hopefully uninjured. But I'm hurting from that, but not nearly as much as I'm hurting from my failure to summit Gannett Peak. It's gonna be a really difficult thing to kind of deal with and process. This is the last of my high points this summer that I'm going for. So I guess at least I'll go in through the fall and have some time to reflect and research and think about kind of how I want to approach my life goal of reaching the top of all 50 states. It's the first one I've failed on, and that's really hard. You know, that's a new challenge. I set out to challenge myself and see
kind of what I could do, what my limits were, and push those limits and expand those limits. And at least over these 4 days, I wasn't up to the task. So kind of sucks to hike 26 miles with a 60-pound backpack thinking about failing to reach a goal. But again, success is making it out and returning to my loved ones, and a little bit more comfort than I've had the past few days. Today was, beyond the 16 miles of backpacking, really had a sketchy situation on the top of Arrow Pass as thunderstorms moved through. Grape-sized hail was raining down on me for probably a solid 20 minutes. Lightning was going off all around me, and I'm totally exposed up there. But it's not like I could just duck and run for cover. When that came through, I had just gotten across the pass, and it's 2.5-3 miles or so in any direction, both directions, to reach tree cover. So I just really had to take my chances. Kind of ducked my head, ran, hoped that my ice axe in my backpack didn't act as a lightning rod. Whew, that was real sketchy. But again, I've got some success. Now I just got to figure out how to deal with the failure.
When you face failure in your pursuit of your goal, you've got to have the mindset that that's really like a gift to you. It's an opportunity for you to refocus your efforts, to make changes and improvements in you, and better prepare yourself for the pursuit of your goal. Then, when you get a chance to try again and you succeed at something that you failed at the first time, there's no better feeling in the world than that. At least that's what I'm hoping when I go back for Gannett Peak. The next steps for me are in the summer of 2025. I plan to attempt to climb Katahdin, Maine, Mount Hood, Oregon, and I've already booked a guided climb of Granite Peak, Montana. If I'm successful at those 3 summit peaks, I'll be at 48 out of 50 US states. And the 2 I would have left, reattempt of Gannett Peak, where I can put in more work and better prepare myself and stand on the top of that mountain. And then there's the great one, Denali, the highest point of Alaska, the highest point of North America. Whew, and it feels getting closer and closer. So as you're working towards your goals and you may face failures, really need to encourage you to see that as your opportunity to make improvements, to change yourself, to refocus your efforts. And I promise you, if you do those things, you're going to see a lot more successes than you will failures in your goal. Well, I wish you good luck in that.